The circle of fifths, well, it begins with a circle. Draw your circle and then put a small line at each position as if this were a clock face. So you want a line at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, etc. Once you have that done, on the inside of the circle, starting with the number 0 at the 12 o'clock position, number it as shown, going clockwise, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then go in reverse order, keeping clockwise, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it'll look like you see here. Now put a dashed line between the 0 at the top and the 6 at the bottom, splitting this circle into two halves. Now on the outside of the circle, put a C at the top over the 0. Count up from C 5, starting with the letter C. C, D, E, F, G. G is your next letter at the 1 o'clock position. Now starting with G, count up 5. G, A, B, C, D. That's at the 2 o'clock position. From D, count up 5. D, E, F, G, A. The letter A is at the 3 o'clock position. Count up 5 from A. A, B, C, D, E. E is at 4 o'clock. Count up 5 from E. E, F, G, A, B. B is at 5 o'clock. Count up 5 from B. B, C, D, E, F. And then you put F sharp at the 6 o'clock. No easy way to tell you to remember this, just you have to know that at the bottom it's F sharp, not F. On the left side of the circle, we have the same kind of thing, only we're going to be counting backwards from C. 5. C, B, A, G, F. F is at the 1 o'clock position on the left. Counting backwards from F, F, E, D, C, B. B flat becomes the entry at the 2 o'clock position on the left. Now from here to the rest of the circle, they'll all have flats in front of them. 5 back from B flat, B, A, G, F, E. So E flat is at the 3rd position or the 3 o'clock position. Back from E flat, back from E, E, D, C, B, A. A flat is at the 4 o'clock. Come back from A, 5, A, G, F, E, D. D flat becomes your 5 o'clock position on this left-hand side. And then 5 back from D, D, C, B, A, G. Well, now G flat shares the 6 o'clock position with F sharp. Remember that the letters for the keys of B, E, A, D, G on the left have flats in front of them. So B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat. There are no sharps or flats associated with the letters on the right-hand side, with the exception of F sharp. All right, we're almost to the point where we can use this. There's one more piece of information we have to know. Sharps and flats appear in a very specific order in music. You won't just have a random willy-nilly arrangement of flats or sharps on a staff. They come and go in a very specific order. The order that flats show up are B, E, A, D, G, C, and F for your flat keys on the left. On the right, you have your sharp keys, C, G, D, A, E, B, and F sharp. The order of sharps, F, C, G, D, A, E, B. Now, if your powers of observations are up to speed, you recognize that the order of flats and the order of sharps are mirror images of each other. B, E, A, D, G, C, F, flats. F, C, G, D, A, E, B, sharps. Now, if you're like me, and you like funny little sayings to help you remember things, well then, order of flats could go, boys eat all duh greasy cheese fries. Order of sharps, fat, cats go down alleys eating biscuits. Now we're ready to use this to make some sense out of some music. Lower left, you see a staff, a treble clef staff, and it has 2 flats in it. Now, right now, you don't have to know anything about the staff. You just got to be able to count. How many flats do you see? Well, there's 2. Well, go find the number 2 on the flat side of the circle of fifths. And what is outside the circle across from the 2? B flat. Guess what? You're in the key of B flat. Now look over here on the sharp side of the house. We have a key signature over here, treble clef staff. Again, I don't care if you know how to read treble clef staff or not. You just got to be able to count. How many sharps do you see? There's 3. Find the number 3 on the circle on the right-hand side. Sharp keys. And what's the letter outside the circle across from the 3? A. You're in the key of A. Next step. Now, what are the notes in the key of B flat? Well, we're going to start off by just using the letters, no sharps or flats involved, just right from B to B. B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Look at the circle of fifths. Across from B flat, what's that number again? 2. There's 2 flats. Now, look up at the order of flats. B, E, A, D, G, C, F. The 2 tells you use the first 2 letters in the order of flats. Now put a flat next to those letters in the B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B sequence that we wrote below, and you're going to see B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat. Now, on the right-hand side, 3 sharps. Remember that? 3 sharps. I don't care if you can read the treble clef staff or not. You just need to be able to count to 3. And remember, we said that the 3 identifies you as a key of A? Okay. Let's write the letters out. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. That number 3 tells us that we are going to use the first 3 letters from the order of sharps. Remember, F, C, G, D, A, E, B. We're only going to use the first 3 of those and put a sharp next to those letters in that sequence we wrote below. And we end up with A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Cool? Well, here's a worksheet that I can send you if you want. But basically, you have flat keys on the left, sharp keys on the right. You can go through the process of figuring out what gets sharp to what gets flatted quite easily. I already did B flat for you on the left. Find B flat, the key of B flat on your circle. There it is, I see it. Right next to the number 2. That 2 tells us again we're going to use the first 2 letters of the order of flats, B and E, and we put flats next to those letters. And there you are. There's your B flat major scale. B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat. Again, on the right, well, if we're going to do, say, the key of G, G is next to the letter, G is next to the number 1 on the circle, which tells us we're going to use the first sharp in the order of sharps. So your scale would be G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Now, the C major scale, which I have at the top, C has no sharps, no flats. See the number 0 next to the C, across from the C in the circle? The key of C has no sharps, no flats. And here's the chart completed. Again, if you want this, you can make it yourself, or I'll be glad to send it to you. You can just let me know. But here is all 12 keys. B, E, A, D, G, C, F, order of flats. F, C, G, D, A, E, B, order of sharps. And here's all 12 keys, and I've added something at the bottom. I'm actually numbering each letter in the alphabet. Each letter in the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1 again. It's going to be very important here soon. Now, how can this help us? Well, Let's take a look at the song Amazing Grace. Let's start here. What key are we in? How many flats do you see? I see 1. And if you use your circle of fifths the way I've just taught you, that tells you we're in the key of F. Now here's a real tricky question. What scale are we going to use in this song? Well, if we're in the key of F, we're going to use the F major scale. Last question. Why is this important? I am so glad you asked. You ask all the right questions. Think of each of the 12 keys as a separate bucket of notes. When you write a song in a specific key, you're choosing to limit yourself to those 7 notes. Oh, there's exceptions to this, but for the most part, if a song's in the key of F, like Amazing Grace here, then we're going to use the songs from the key of F. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, and F. As you now understand the circle of fifths, again, you know the notes in the key of F. I just told them to you. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. You will find that the notes used in the song are indeed limited to the F major scale. So if you want to master this song, you must master the scale. Whatever instrument you play, you should know your major scales, because that's the heart and soul of everything in Western music. Wait, though, there's more to the scale than just the notes it tells us about. It also tells us the chords that are going to be in this key, in this case, the key of F. How does that work? F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. These are not only the notes of the F major scale, they are also the names of the chords in the key of F. In other words, the chords in the key of F are going to be F something or other chord, a G something or other chord, an A something or other chord, etc. Once you learn what I'm about to show you, you will almost instantly know the chords in every key that a song can be written in. It's a pattern. It's easy to memorize. Here's what you need to know. The first 6 chords in the major scale, in this case, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, and E, are going to be major or minor. The 7th chord, which would be E. The 7th chord will be diminished. Let's reduce this down a little bit. The 1st, 4th, and 5th chords are major. The 2nd, 3rd, and 6th chords are minor. The 7th chord is diminished. Here's your major scale. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. And what we're now calling the F chordal scale will be as follows. F, G minor, A minor, B flat major, C major, D minor, E diminished, F major. The 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord are major. The 2, 3, and 6 chords are minor. The 7th chord is diminished. If you can memorize what I just wrote down here, 1, 4, 5 major, 2, 3, 6 minor, 7 diminished, you can figure out the chords in any key almost instantaneously. Now here's a chart that shows all the chords in every key. Across the top are the numbers of the chord, the 1 chord, 2 chord, 3 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, 6 chord, 7 chord. And we see 1, 4, and 5 major, 2, 3, and 6 minor, and 7 is diminished. So in summary, the circle of fifths can tell us what key a song is in. Once we know that, we can easily figure out the notes in that key, or that key's major scale. Once we know that, we can easily know the chords in that key, as long as we remember that 1, 4, 5 are major, 2, 3, and 6 are minor, and 7 is diminished. Let's go back. 1, 4, 5 major, 2, 3, 6 minor, 7 diminished. And once we know all that, no matter what instrument you play, you can find the notes of the melody of that tune. You can use any of the notes in that key to play improvisationally. Knowledge is power. Now, believe it or not, this is only the beginning. There's more to the major scale than just this, but this is a good place to start. And the circle of fifths, that's the musician's Rosetta Stone. That's the secret to life, the universe, and everything in Western music. Thank you for listening to another lesson from Paige's World. I'm Paige, and I am out of here. Have a great day. Bye-bye.